Well, folks, we're up on top of the roof, and I wanted to give you a breakdown of how the actual roof structure gets put into place, and the process of what you have to go through to get a. If you're using a detailed or a complicated roof design, there's a lot that goes into it, other than a straight, pretty much your standard house like my neighbor's over there. He's got a real simple design. Unfortunately, my house is because it's a modern look or contemporary. It's got some roof angles to it and stuff that are pretty steep. It's like a 34 degrees that are going on here to get the look that we wanted to try to achieve. So the material he starts out with is structural steel. It's 2x2 as far as the actual length it goes, and the roof, the truss that they're laying in place. They bring out a subcontracted crew that's all they do is lay these roof structures down, and before that you get with an engineer and you decide what type of roof that you're going to have put on in order to hold the strength of the roof itself. And out here with the typhoons that they have going on, you got to have a really just a hardcore stuff that just is not going to go. I mean, even no matter what you do, sometimes it still won't make a difference with the 150 plus mile an hour winds they get out here. But you can see the structure of the roof now as I pan around. You got the two of the crew down there doing some welding. The first thing they do is, after they get the design in, they'll start laying the L-shaped steel across as your base foundation, and they'll use cement nails to just to hold it in place until they can do their welding. And all this stuff is attached. Had a comment from one of the viewers asking how this stuff was secured, and it was a good question. It was a great question, and I wanted that answer myself too. And I found out that they actually use all the rebarb to weld and attach and secure the actual roof structure in place, at least the base portion of it. And as they come into center sections here, you can see as you get in closer to that, you can see where they're all tied into one section there, and how everything is welded on up. But to answer your question, they use to start off, they'll use cement nails to hold just the base foundation in place, and then they follow up with tying it into the rebar through wells. And if there's no spot that they drill into the column itself, sink a rebarb into it, and then they weld that rebarb as additional strength to it to keep it from being able to be blown off during a hurricane winds. Because like I said, we're in that area of the Philippines that we do encounter typhoons. We had 3 in last year that were pretty substantial. Took some damage to some of the other communities, but that's one of the goals that we're trying to avoid, is to have any type of damage whatsoever on our house or roof. And roof is super important, because it's what keeps everything dry and keeps the sun out. And then after you get your structure in place, the next thing you got to work on is your roof. And you've heard me talk about it before. The problem with our roof is that I like that stone coat, but the stone coat, when I say stone coat, I'm talking about the texturing on the actual steel itself, because all the roofs, with the exception of tile and asphalt out here, the majority of them are steel. And they do have cement. A lot of people like that those cement tiles that they put in place. I mean, they're good, strong roofs, but if you start doing with the cement, then you have to increase your structural foundation of the trusses and ties that go into place on your roof structure itself. So as I'm getting educated, trying to pass that on, I mean, there's a savings with the material on the cement, but there's also added cost increases on the steel that you have to support that structure in place. But you want to make sure that you get on a metal roof, whether it's a stone coat or whether it's what they call a long span type of roof that comes in big sheets and makes it a lot more difficult for the rain to get into. And when I say difficult to get into, because when they have the hurricane winds, or when it rains and blows hard here, it'll actually push the rain up into underneath the courses of the roofs themselves. And like I said, that stone coat is what separates it from steel. It is steel, but what makes it different is it's textured with some companies will use a volcanic material to give it that texture and durability. And the paint that goes into it, or the color staining of it, for lack of a better word, is what keeps it long term. It costs more, but there's a lot less maintenance involved into a stone coat roof than there is a steel roof. So either you pay now or you pay later. It's kind of the way I look at it for the house here. I like the stone coat, but they're having availability right now, both in steel as well as stone coat with the color I want. I mean, they can't get. We're looking for a lighter color, preferably a gray. And I want to thank Casatini Pex, man. He sent me a good company that had a lot of D&N steel, and I want to thank him for his time and sending me the contact information for that company. That's the company that he used on his build. And if you haven't had a chance, and you should check out his site, because he's really done a fantastic job on his house. It's a beautiful home, and I wish him and his wife many happy years down the road in that house. But the thing is, you want to work on the insulation before it goes down to it. Preferably a double insulation is what we're trying to go for on our house. So it will help shield the heat that comes from the sun and the noise as well. Because if you go with a tile roof or you go with an asphalt roof, you kind of get a self-insulated already. You get more because the material itself, and the States tile is very common, especially in the West Coast areas that we use. As a matter of fact, I had it on my old house when I was in Arizona, and that stuff, tile's a great roof. But you see it out here, but not as common. It's usually stuff that's brought in from Japan that's really high end. And like I said, the stone coat's not cheap. It's not a cheap roof, and it's about half of the price of the actual steel roof that you have. And then there's different grades as far as your thickness. What separates a good steel roof from a cheap steel roof is the thickness on the material itself. They've got I've seen it as low as 0.3, 0.4, 0.5 is pretty common. When you get into a 0.6, that's a pretty thick steel roof, especially if you're getting a single span. And the cost is more when you're doing that. So that's something to all to factor in, and it all depends on your budget. You can want a ton of stuff, but your budget, if you're like me on a limited budget, you don't have much of an option as far as what you can go with. And right now the biggest delay is we're taking anywhere from 2 to 3 months to get the color that you want, because they're either having to bring it in from China or from New Zealand to get this roof that we're looking for. Let me spin around here and you can see how these guys are welding that corner section over there. So the New Zealand ones is one of the companies that my builder's been doing a lot of research on. There's plenty of roofs available out here. I don't want to make it sound like there's not. But the fact of the matter is, to get the color that you want is a different story. So that's the holdup for us, and it's going to be 3 months. And I don't want to put a delay on my build, but I don't want to live with a roof. I don't want to, every time I walk outside my house, see the color of a roof that I don't really want. So that's super important to me. Would be to anybody. It'd be crazy to get to. And some people have to settle on whatever they have available. I mean, black seems to be the color that everybody wants. It's not that I don't like the looks of a black roof. It's just for me, it's not what I want. So it's not the color I want. I want something to match our windows or close to it, or at least gives it a good offset to it. But black's just not my choice, and I don't understand why it's such a popular design out here, because it really conducts the heat a lot more. I hear that it connects heat, and when you do your own research on it, you talk to different people, it seems like everybody's got their own opinion on it, but then you have to look back at what's their vested interest in it. Are they selling that roof, or is that something that they're experienced on? So folks, we can go cruise the rest of the site, see what's going on, but there hasn't been much on my build as far as they're still with the stucco. They're doing a lot of work on it, but it's not going at the speed that it does that would be in the States, because it's just a labor intensive. They put that first coat of plaster on, and it's a real rough, ugly looking coat, and then they finish the second coat on, which is the finish coat, and then they actually, after that, they'll put some skim coat above that. But that's all that's been going on here. They're working on this roof's the big thing, and the tiles are coming in next. So I've already ordered tiles, and I was told that with a hard pack they can actually start on the bottom floor, and because it's about 95% of it's waterproofed up here in the areas that are not waterproof, that they won't lay tile, or they can work around those areas to get what we want. Because my concern was, I don't want to spend another 3 months, being delayed on a bill, waiting for material to come in, and hopefully it comes in a timely manner. But sometimes there's delays, because you just got to go through customs. It's got to be ordered, shipped, paid for first before they even talk to you, and it's got to be then brought in and go through that whole import process. Taxes got to be paid on, and then it's got to be shipped out to the site. It's not like it's in a local manufacturer's warehouse out here, where we just jump onto it and then have it shipped out, find the material. So I don't know, I might have to eat the bullet and spend more just to get the material out here in a timely manner. That looks like one of the options. The wife and I are gonna sit down and talk about what we want. Builder said give him another week on that, and because he's reached out to a lot of suppliers and vendors, and they're not having they don't have the colors in, or there's a delay that's involved. So we're gonna wait on that week, see what's going on, because there's a lot of other stuff we have to do. We have to go out and get doors and look at designs, and we got to look at furniture. We haven't even started on. We just started looking at it, but we haven't really gotten super serious about that, because we still got all of our. We've purchased about half of our Saniware, or their term here in the Philippines for toilets and sinks already. So again, we're waiting on that. I've got most of my network stuff done, as far as the purchasing all the hardware on it. The install is going to take once they get this stuff done, and you'll be able to start running the Cat 6 cabling through the conduit that we have already set in here. And it's not as simple as going up in the attic and when they do a build and dropping it down where you want to. Unfortunately, it's not. So a little bit more involved out here, because you gotta do a lot more pre-planning. But I just know that I want a house that's not only future-proof, but just convenience, because everything you do out here, if you want to monitor your CCTV cameras from let's say in your bedroom, you're going to have to find a way to use those HDMI splitters and transmitters and receivers to get that signal where you need it. And that's something else I got to get involved into, because I reached out to a software company about the install, and they were just kind of assumed I had an open budget and was willing to pay whatever it was when I was trying to get a firm bid. And they, again, take their sweet time about it. So I said, hey, heck with you guys, I'll do it myself. Not that tough. Been doing it at my house. It's not going to be an elaborate system, but it'll be enough to get by for my needs. So let me get off this roof, and we'll take a look downstairs and give you a quick run through, and see if you guys have any questions for us. I don't want to keep boring you with the same material over and over again, so I'll run through this real quick. Basically, you can see we've already talked about this one before, the master bedroom. They've got their concrete mix here for the plastering that's going on in the CR upstairs, the shared CR, but for the other two bedrooms. And they finished up the columns, you can see, that are still there, and the guys are going up and working on the roof structure up there as well. So there's not a lot that I haven't already talked about. Got this one of the subscribers there talks about this trash area, and I can't stand it myself. I already made arrangements with the cleanup crew that they have here, the trash guys there, and they said they're going to get it, but they're going to get to it when they get to it. You can see how this is the first coat of plaster. You can see how much of just a difference on the wall, the depth itself on that first rough coat, and then when it transitions into, when they start to smooth it out here. So hopefully we'll get this site cleaned up to an acceptable level, because it bugs me just like it does everybody else, more so. But one thing I have learned out here in the Philippines is you have to be patient. It's not the United States, so things aren't done the way they want them, the way you want them, or the way I want them done. But I can see that they're modifying the window that I talked about to go over a countertop. I wanted something for the actual, so my wife or anybody that's working in the kitchen will have a view of a nice backyard, not looking at the trash that we're currently looking at now. And then they're going to punch this out right here that extend it. But our HOA has put in added guidelines now that weren't in place a year ago or even 6 months ago. So they have to submit a bunch of paperwork that nobody will probably look at. So that's the frustrating part. It's not like it's something that's really make a difference. As long as you're within your 25% footprint, you're good. That's the key thing here. I had to get out of the house, too much noise. Grinders, cutters, welders. And there's little things on the side, like right now, they want to do welding at my neighbor's house next door for some of his needs, and they're not able to do that because the draw from just one little single welder here is causing the lights to flicker on in the neighborhood here. So they came down and said we have to cut back on our welding. So contractor brought out his generator to do welding on this house, but it was working before he left, and now it's not working when he came in to bring it on site. Murphy's Law. It always works that way. But I come out here, I'm trying to come out less and less, because you see your house progressing, and then it stops, and then you wait for another phase. I wish they had a way that a lot of the builds were smoother in transition wise with not only the labor, but the projects when they go from step to step, when you go from electrical to carpentry and everything else. So folks, just want to say thank you again for the support and appreciate everything you guys do for us. I want you guys to go ahead and I hear those vaccines are rolling out pretty good in the US, and that's good to hear. Philippines not so much, so stay safe, and God bless you guys. Take care.